Welcome back to Real America's Pop Culture. It's time for The Brief with two-time Emmy Award-winning journalist Michelle Backus. Hey, Michelle, how are you?
I am great. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Let's get right into it. So I want to start with Kamala Harris's stepdaughter, who revealed she's suffering from climate anxiety. Yet the campaign dropped millions on private jet travel. It's a bizarre contrast, but let's take a look at this clip.
I feel disgust at what's going on in the world around genocides, the loss of rights, the loss of health care, the just general fear that everyone has surrounding affordability, their lives, their livelihood, like everything. It's just, it feels so big. I think everything with the environment is really getting to me, and it is one I experience a lot of climate anxiety, like a lot of us do. It's not funny. It's just like, it's one of those things. It's not funny, but you just like nervous laugh about it because it's scary. It is. It's all of these things are happening, and
all right, so Michelle, I don't know if you're like me, but when I have like anxiety or I'm stressed out, I have like more of like a high level of energy coming out. This was a very low energy grift, if you ask me. But talk to me a little bit about how you feel about her selective outrage based on what we've seen, the facts coming out about the jet usage.
Well, we see it right there. Harris's campaign blew 2.5 or 6 million on private jets in those final weeks of the campaign. Look, this is why you see Democrats in Hollywood go hand in hand. You have the same people, Taylor Swift, so many people in Hollywood complaining about everyone else's usage that is destroying the world, and yet they are riding around on private jets, sometimes just 20-minute rides from Tampa to Miami, for instance, from Las Vegas to LA. If you really care, you would not be jetting around on these private planes. But again, it's the hypocrisy of it all. It's the same thing we saw during COVID. You cannot leave your house and go get your hair done, but no worries, because Nancy Pelosi is allowed to. They're trying to establish two separate classes here. Shame on you, but we'll continue to do what we want because we are in a different class. I'll tell you what, though, Kamala Harris's stepdaughter, can you imagine hanging out with her? She's just someone I don't think we would ever be friends, but she's the scary part. She's the face of these woke Gen Zers.
Yeah, we would not be invited because we shave our armpits, so we would just never be on her invite list.
We don't make the cut
with Michelle. But anyway, let's move to Jennifer Newsom, because she's out here saying crazy things too. Okay, she says it's time for America to follow California's lead. All right, so critics jumped on the comment, pointing to crime, homelessness, and mass exodus that is occurring in the state of California. But if California is the blueprint, many Americans aren't buying it. And by the way, so where do you want us to follow California? To the dump or to like U-Haul so we can pack our stuff up and just leave? I mean, this is crazy. So how are you reacting to this statement?
Well, California now leads the country in homelessness and unemployment. So way to go, Gavin Newsom. I suppose we should follow him in that direction. And I say this all the time because I love California. There's great beaches, great weather, great hiking. You have everything right there, and you have the worst leadership in the world. In fact, I think a lot of people would be surprised to know that California is more red than you think. And especially look at what happened with Spencer Pratt, these California wildfires, the disastrous leadership going on there with Karen Bass. More people are waking up. It's just unfortunate that these types of things need to happen in order for that to be the case. You know, it's funny because everyone keeps toying with this 28 run and Gavin Newsom, but what is he going to stand on here? I mean, he really doesn't have a great platform. How are you going to advertise your state when the data and the statistics are well behind you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's such a shame, right, to take such a beautiful state and completely trash it. And I think I think they're trying to cosplay him as a Republican, if I'm being honest, Michelle. And it's like, I hope people aren't falling for it. Just because they look like the Republican family, they're trying to get masculinity back. They're trying to win some things over with his X account. And I'm telling you, it's evil.
It's so cringy. Have you seen that X account? It's trying to mock Trump. I get what they're doing, but it's not working. It's just cringy.
No, it's embarrassing. And at some point it needs to end. Again, I think this is all a bit. I think they're trying to like sort of cosplay to get that masculinity back, but it's not going to work. But moving on, I have an insanely funny story. So as you know, you've seen, MSNBC is rebranding to MS Now. The network says it's about being timely, but critics are calling it desperate. A new name doesn't change the fact that viewers are walking away. Let's take a look.
We have breaking news as it pertains to our network. This morning, a new name for the network by the end of the year. We will become MS Now, which stands for My Source for News, Opinion, and the World. And look, Andrew, they even have a graphic up. I like it.
There it is.
Actually,
the new logo.
It looks very sporty.
Okay, so the graphics are horrible.
Yeah.
I don't know if this was done in Canva. There's not even shading or shadowing behind the letters. It looks like a cheap streaming service, but I don't know, like, it's not, the network is melting faster than a snow cone in Florida. That's my opinion. What is your take on the rebrand?
Look, they could have done that in Canva because they're losing profits, they're losing viewership, they need to cut costs somewhere. Fire the graphic designer. We'll just go online, get the free tutorial there. But look, what they're doing, they're trying to put lipstick on a pig. Nothing is going to change. And I think this is a very desperate attempt. I understand why they're doing it at this point. You have to try and make some sort of change. But, you know, they're always going to have the same reputation, and that is fake news. It's Democratic propaganda. And so many people, especially this last election, but I would even say over the past 4 years, saw what was going on and woke up. Again, similar to California, everyone has their own antidote, their own story as to why they opened their eyes and became educated on what's going on. And at this point, MS Now, as we're calling it, is fake news. It's still just fake news. It's MSDNC. I can't believe they didn't go with that. It might have worked.
That's what they're trying. I think that's what they're trying to get away from. But listen, you're not going to be able to. We're not going to let it go that easily. So, moving on to another crazy story. A Democrat-linked protest in Virginia is under fire after a racist sign surface. So the image went viral, putting Dems on the defense, and they claim they're the party of, you know, tolerance. But signs like this tell a different story. You know, if the sign reads, "If trans can't use our bathrooms, then blacks can't use my water fountain." I mean, this is actually insane. What a wild sign. And this is bringing me back to the origination of Planned Parenthood that nobody wants to bring up. But what are your thoughts on this? And, like, what is this?
Well, she's not racist. Remember, she's allowed to say that because she's a Democrat. We are racist. But she's a Democrat. She's allowed to say that. You know, it makes me so angry. You and I probably both know a lot of people that vote on the left. And I'll tell you what, the hypocrisy of it all. You know, I have a friend that is a Democrat. And he will say things that, in my opinion, homophobic. Yet he calls me homophobic. And that's really how this works. You know, that's blatantly racist is what it is. But for some reason, they're allowed to be racist. They get a hall pass. I don't get it. I really don't understand the rationale in their brains.
I don't get it either. It's a horrific sign. Moving on, I want to talk about Ghislaine Maxwell. So literally from prison, she said she doesn't believe that Epstein died by suicide. She claims there is also no client list. The comments are raising eyebrows, and the public still wants answers, of course, about the list. But the question remains, who was protected? So if it wasn't suicide and he was killed, why is he getting killed if there's no list? What is your take on this?
Yeah, and this is a massive argument that isn't going away anytime soon because I still have a million questions myself, and I understand why the American public, as well as myself, still wants answers. And, you know, I'll continue to go back on this, but we saw for months Pam Bondi demanding answers and demanding justice and whatnot, and all of that has subsided. And I'll tell you what, it's an issue that American people are still frustrated at because it goes back to this idea of 2 tiers of justice. Who exactly are we protecting, this powerful elite? And I will say this. I don't think that Jeffrey Epstein had a book detailing every single person in a very blatant sense. Nonetheless, we do have the flight logs. And what do people like this do? How do they gain power? It's blackmail. So Jeffrey Epstein very well probably has blackmail on a lot of people. Now, we've seen some of the people associated on that flight log. And this goes past just the United States, right? We are looking at massive world powers. And a lot of questions remain, and American people want answers, and I don't blame them at all. I think there's still a lot of things to uncover here, and I truly hope that we get to the bottom of this and get a little bit of clarity. And to that point, people have held my feet to the fire as well. I think it's important to continue to defend that.
Absolutely, I agree with you, Michelle. I want to thank you for joining us for the brief, and we'll see you soon in the group chat. Up next, we talk to a tried and true American patriot. We'll be right back.